And we're back. Another installment of the extended demo for the Divine Speaker. Already a loud crash to start off. Good. Where we left off, we were carrying a guy taller than us. Lugging this guy across the forest was no easy feat. Fuyuure ended up having to help me with his legs, since they were dragging on the ground and he was groaning and shifting the entire time. Since he was groaning and shifting every time he got caught on a bush. How unappreciative. He's injured. Getting caught in a bush probably hurts. He also likes complaining. What a troublesome guy. Eventually we reached the river. What should have been a 15-minute walk slowly became an hour-long struggle. I placed him down on the ground carefully with a sigh. That sounded like you just dropped him. Which, honestly, he probably deserves.
Yeah, he's way too tall.
The redhead was still out cold. This is our last chance to check his wounds properly without him complaining. We looked over his exposed arms and stomach again, but there was nothing life-threatening. Vaughn got to work with cleaning the dirt from those wounds while I checked elsewhere. His face, fine. He's actually got pretty nice features, but you could barely tell past his awful expression. Legs don't seem to have any problem. They feel quite muscular too. I felt them for a moment before moving on. He's just sitting there squeezing his thighs. Take the opportunity, Raen. I looked again at the small trickle of blood coming out of his mouth.
I guess I should check his mouth?
I glanced at Fawn for confirmation. He gave me a little nod. Alright. Here it goes. I touched a finger to his mouth. This is not hygienic. His lips were soft. Softer than they ought to be for someone with such nasty language. I parted his lips with my finger and opened his mouth. Uh-oh. His eyes shot open. We instantly made eye contact. Not awkward at all.
You mind getting your fingers out of my mouth?
Oh, of course.
I would have bitten him. 100% would have bitten him. I took my fingers out of his mouth and a disgusted look spread over his face. He spat and reached for his belt.
What did you do with my weapons?
Don't worry, we have them safe.
Oh, I'm not worried about them. You just know what they say. Don't let children near sharp objects, especially if that pipsqueak over there has them.
It looks like his attitude wasn't injured. He sat up, but it looked like moving was a lot of effort. Right now, he didn't seem too dangerous.
Listen, you need our help. You obviously can't leave by yourself, so just cut the attitude and let us help you. Why don't we introduce ourselves? My name's Raen, and the one with the light hair over there is Fawn.
And I'm the king of Aurelia Cavella. Fine. Leos. You should have just left me where you found me. Can't think of anything worse than being indebted to someone like you.
Stop being so unappreciative. We could still leave you here.
Fawn walked back over from the river. He'd gathered some water to... Oh. I say it Leos, but he just said it Leos. I always say it wrong though. He'd gathered some water to clean Leos's wounds.
This might sting a little.
Ouch.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. It serves him right.
I chuckled quietly. That's what you get for being nasty. While Fawn was busy, we had a moment of silence. Finally, a chance to ask some questions.
So, what exactly is going on? Did you burn Fawn's house down? Were you with the other two?
He watched me with narrowed eyes, probably deciding if he even wanted to bother answering my questions. Eventually, he just sighed.
No point in keeping it secret now. If I go back, they'll just get rid of me anyway. I know they'll look for any excuse. Someone hired me to track you down. Paid well for it, too.
And the other two. The fire.
Yes, I was with the other two, but they were idiots anyway. I'm sure they're burning in hell by now. You can blame them for the fire. I wouldn't do something so showy.
Someone hired you to track me down? Why? Now you're going to stay quiet?
Sorry, I was just admiring how dense you are. To kill you, obviously. I didn't know about the other kid, though.
He glanced at Fawn.
What? Why would anyone?
No clue. I just follow orders.
I felt sick. Who would do that to me?
But in the town square.
Whoa, you're not a total airhead after all. I'm amazed. The only instructions I received were to follow you and direct you to the archives somehow. Not the kind of job I'm used to. Any sane person that wanted you dead would have had me assassinate you in your sleep, but money's money. Not my job to ask questions. I thought it would have been more work, but you took the bait easily. You should learn not to trust people.
But I was thrown out because of that. Because of you!
You were thrown out because you're so gullible. That has nothing to do with me. Maybe you shouldn't believe everything you're told, huh? Anyway, you can blame whoever employed me. I'm not taking the blame for that one.
Then, what do you know about my markings? You said you recognized them.
Absolutely nothing. I just repeated what I was told to say. How am I meant to see something your sleeve is covering? Idiot.
He makes a point. He makes a point to cover the markings on his arm and then hold them to his chest. My face flared up. I really do feel like an idiot. Whoever hired him was the one who knew about my markings then. I have two leads. Prince Caspian and Leos' employer. Neither would be easy to find. It's not exactly like I can traipse back home to answer them, or to question them. And what about the prince? Is he even alive? I've never heard about him from anyone. Fawn watched me with worried eyes, but still went about cleaning Leos' cuts. Before I could answer anything else, he cut back into the conversation.
I've cleaned up your wounds as best I can, but
He glanced at Leos' mouth.
I think some of them may be beyond us. We need to get help from a healer or a doctor.
How? If either of us enter Aurelia Cavella, we'll be toast.
Well, if we go east, through the forest, we'll eventually get to Stagwitch. Sidcaeum is past that, but it's pretty far away.
Those names again. What's he talking about?
Fawn, I didn't want to say anything before, but maybe you're a little confused from being out here so long. Aurelia Cavella is the only place nearby. Well, the only place full stop. The rest of the world is just forest. You should know that.
You keep saying things like that. Is that really what they told you?
He had a sad look in his eyes.
I'm not sure what they taught you in your hometown, but there's an entire world out here. Cities, villages, nations, people. I've never even heard of Aurelia Cavella.
What do you mean? You've never been there?
I don't think so. It's kind of strange. I remember following the river at one point, but there was a dense fog, and I'd find myself back at my house. I'm starting to believe there's not a village there at all.
Of course there is.
You keep some, interesting company. A crazy, delusional wild forest boy, some kind of cross between a mouse and a fairy.
I'm not crazy. I can't believe that a place with those kinds of teachings could
So
possibly
rude.
exist.
My book does say something about Sid Kayam, but I don't know. Something strange is going on, or you think.
You two might not believe me yet, but like you said, you can't return home, and you need help. You'll just have to trust me this time. I can show you to the edge of the forest, and the two of you can go down and find help. And then I'll try to rebuild, I guess.
When he puts it like that, there's really not a lot of options. We can't go back, and staying here isn't really an option either. If we just play along, eventually he'll work out that no matter how far we walk, we're not going to get anywhere. I guess being as far away from here as possible would probably work in our favor too.
Okay. I trust you, Fawn. We'll go with you.
He beamed at me. Seems that was a correct answer.
I don't get a say in this?
Nope.
Nope.
So, we follow the crazy man out into the middle of the forest. Sounds like an amazing plan, and one that definitely won't end in murder.
Says the guy trying to kill them.
That's funny, coming from you.
Really though, Leos looked kind of delicate up close. A pained expression, dark eyelashes, a slim face.
Hey,
Those
how
pretty
close
blue
you
eyes.
weren't so bad looking.
That shut him up.
Actually, I wanted to ask, what exactly does that make you then? Why did they hire you?
An assassin, a mercenary, whatever I'm paid enough to be.
He looked away. Seems like he didn't want to talk about it. I pushed on anyway.
An assassin? They actually exist? Why?
To get rid of unwanted people. Why else?
To kill! Why else would an assassin exist?
And right now, you're looking very unwanted.
You know, bodies are being dumped out here. Do you know anything about that?
Just full of questions, aren't you?
I guess that's the end of his leniency. He answered a lot of my questions though, which is surprising.
I'm finished with your wounds now. Try not to get any more dirt in them.
And here I was, thinking of smearing mud through my cuts. Thank you for your wisdom, O gracious one. How will I ever be able to repay you?
Oh dear. He's so abrasive. Fawn looked away, embarrassed. I'm not great at dealing with people like him, but Fawn's definitely worse. I glared at him, but the cocky grin didn't leave his face.
They won't stop with just sending me. When I don't return, they'll just send someone else.
Then we need to get out of here before anyone else comes. Will you be able to walk? Do you want us to carry you again?
I'm fine on my own.
He tried to stand, but his legs were still unsteady. Finally, with only a little of our unwanted help, he stood up.
If you need to lean on my shoulder while you walk, you can. I don't mind.
I'm not sure I can bend down that far.
Fine. Don't complain when you end up needing my help.
What an asshole. Next to him, Fawn looked like a saint. Wait. What do you mean just next to him? Fawn is such a good boy. What are you talking about?
It's a bit of a walk to the forest's edge. We should leave now, before it gets too dark.
Fawn motioned in the direction that I presumed was the way we needed to go. For now, we'll follow him. Even if he might be slightly delusional, it's better than staying here. Especially now that we know that others could come after me.
Yeah, I think that's for the best.
Okay then.
Fawn looked at Leos with a concerned expression on his face. It was obvious just from the way he was standing that he was already struggling. I wonder, will he really be okay with a long walk? I wanted to help him, but he won't have a bar of it. He's way too stubborn. If I even try to reach out and steady him, he flings abuse at me. Whatever then. Let him struggle. If he really needs help, I want him to ask for it.
Hurry up then. Lead the way, Forest Fairy.
Forest Fairy?
You prefer mouse, pipsqueak, runt? Glad that's settled then. Gonna move on, unless you want to be caught here. It'd be a laugh watching you two defend yourselves, though. Maybe we should stick around after all.
Poor Fawn. He really can't catch a break. I looked over at him apologetically. Why is Leos' attitude so bad? I'm not holding my breath, but it'd be nice if he could be even a little bit more friendly. A little bit friendly, not even more friendly. He's not very friendly at all. We're doing all this for him anyway. The least he could do is show some gratitude.
We don't have any supplies now, either.
To be fair, he hasn't asked for any of this to be done for him.
I didn't think about that. What do we do about food?
We'll have to find water along the way, too. I'm sure we'll stumble across some fresh water, so if we can scavenge berries or something, we should be okay.
What about shelter?
I'm not sure. Hopefully, we can find somewhere under cover.
Less talking, more moving.
Yes, yes, Your Highness.
Oops. The last few hours have been extremely slow. We've walked a little more, then walked a little further. Fawn walked slightly ahead, scouting out our path and guiding us. All Leos and I could do was follow along behind him. The setting sun cast our surroundings in orange and red. For some reason, this time of day seemed the most sad. When I looked around, it didn't look any different to where we were an hour ago, or 2 hours ago, or 3. But obviously Fawn knew where he was going, or where he thought he was going. Anyway, he tried not to show it, but Leos must have been in a lot of pain. He didn't fall behind, but he was struggling. If I tried to help him, he'd brush me off and insult me again. After all of this walking, even I felt exhausted, so I almost didn't even want to think about how Leos was feeling.
Fawn, I think Leos and I are getting a bit tired. Maybe we should start looking for somewhere to stay for the night.
He stopped in his tracks and turned to face us. Here I was, huffing and puffing, and he hadn't even broken a sweat. He's really something else.
You might be right. It'll start getting dark soon. I'll see if I can find some place to rest. Wait here for a second.
Before I could blink, he was already halfway up a tree. He climbed it like it was natural.
What is he? Is some kind of monkey?
I thought you were going with mouse.
Do you really trust him?
You're one to talk. It's very audacious to be someone trying to kill him and ask him a question about trusting someone else who's not trying to kill him. I looked over at Leos, puzzled. This is the first time we've really been alone together. It's pretty awkward being alone with someone that tried to kill you.
Why wouldn't I?
He lives out here? In the forest? By himself? He's obviously got a few screws loose as well.
He hasn't given me any reason to not trust him. He might have some crazy ideas, but he's the only reason I've survived this long. And he's not as weak as you think he is either. So yeah, I do trust him. He's more trustworthy than some assassin who goes around burning down houses, huh?
Ouch. You wound me. But that really wasn't...
Guys, I can see some kind of lake to the south of us.
Fawn popped his head out of the tree and waved at us.
All right. That sounds like where we'll be spending the night. Can you lead us?
Of course.
His expression was bright and warm. Seeing him smile like that makes me happy for some reason. He dropped down from the tree gracefully, like a cat.
Follow me.
I very rarely ever saw my cat land on her feet. She was very clumsy. Graceful cats are not very common in my experience.
Like we have a choice. Ow.
I elbowed him lightly in the ribs. I hope it hurt. Oh, this might be a weird topic, but I'm kind of interested in what Leos thinks. Maybe he knows. Maybe he'll know something about what Fawn said last night.
Hey, Fawn. Tell Leos about that kissing thing. And the marriage and love.
Really? Right now?
He flared up again.
Fawn told me that when you want to be with someone forever, you fall in love, get married, and kiss. Have you ever heard of that?
What are you on about?
And when you kiss, you make babies. Is that how they do it at home?
God, I hope not.
No. You don't have babies after you kiss.
Oh. Then how do you have babies?
That's obvious. The speaker has something to do with it, of course.
The speaker's making them babies. Is that why he knows what Rain's dad looks like? Speaker's been making the babies.
No, seriously? You don't know?
I don't. They don't tell us anything about babies until after we're matched up.
That seems so chaotic.
When two people are in love, they, show it physically.
What the fuck is he talking about? Love?
I have no clue. He told me it's something you feel when you look at someone. But all I feel when I look at you is indifference.
I'm flattered. All I feel when I look at you is a desire to trip you over.
That's not very nice.
Not nice, but it's hilarious.
How can you not know about something like love? I mean, even if you don't know about it, surely it's something you could still feel. You don't have to understand love to feel it. In fact, I think most people...
Oh, you can click on it.
In fact, I think most people don't really understand love. But to not even know of the notion?
Sounds like something a crazy tree-dwelling lunatic would come up with.
Sounds amazing. Are you sure it's real? Okay. Because I am weak, and I love tall redheads with their abs out. I'm going to focus on more Leo-centric options because, of course I am. I love him so much. So between these, I think, are you sure it's real? Sounds like the Leo's option.
Are you sure it's real?
Even the idiot agrees with me.
Pick his option and he's still rude to you.
Of course I'm sure. Before I lived here, everyone around me loved each other. My family loved each other. parents, my parents loved each other as well. It's normal to grow up surrounded by love.
His parents? Didn't he mention not knowing them? Suspicious! He turned his face away from us. Maybe it'd be best to leave the subject alone for now.
Ah, is this the lake?
We came out in a small clearing. Weeds and flowers grew by the edge of the lake, and frogs croaked loudly. The water was mostly still, apart from a slight trickle.
Do you think the water's fresh enough for us to drink?
Who knows what kind of filth grows in a place like this?
Well, some of the water is running, so it should be safe enough to drink.
Really?
Maybe. I'd be a bit more worried if the water was completely still, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
He didn't look entirely convinced. Not many other options around for water, though.
We were lucky to find some so quickly. I wish we could take some with us, though. We still have a long walk ahead of us.
I'll appoint myself as supervisor then. Get on with it.
He plonked himself down on the grass. Typical.
I'll see if I can find anything useful.
He is still hurt, though. Fawn immediately went to work searching through the surrounding bushes.
Hey, Leos. Surely you have something useful in that pack of yours.
Something very useful. Come take a look.
I leaned over and looked into his bag.
More knives? Really?
He grinned. Smug asshole.
Forget it. You're totally useless.
Why does he have knives in his bag still? Wouldn't they have... Surely they would have gone through his bag to make sure that there was no more knives.
What's not useful about a few extra blades, huh?
Everything when we're trying to survive out here.
I can think of plenty of ways that a dagger could help you to survive.
What?
You're too innocent.
Ugh, how irritating. Why are we bothering to help him again? 'Cause you decided that you wanted to. That is why you're helping him. Looking pretty satisfied with himself, he watched while Fawn and I searched around the area. So, he has more daggers after all. I guess stripping him of his weapons was a complete waste of time. It makes me feel a little bit uneasy. I don't trust him with them, not even slightly. It'd be hard to take them too. Will he try to attack us during the night? Who knows? I wouldn't put it past him. But maybe he feels like he owes us and won't try to hurt us? Maybe. It's a really big maybe. By the way he carries himself, I can assume he knows how to use them well. I don't want to end up on the receiving end again. When I put my hand to my throat, I could still feel the cut from earlier. It still stung, but at least it was only light. That confrontation could have ended up a lot worse. I dug around the bushes a little and checked around the perimeter. There wasn't much around. Sticks, roots, the occasional mushroom. Give to shrooms. I found my way back over to Fawn.
Found anything?
No. I think we're too far from anywhere to find anything here.
I guess we can't take any with us then. Still, at least we can drink now. Leos, if you want a drink, you're gonna have to come get it yourself.
Aren't you supposed to be taking care of me? I mean, you want me to walk all the way over there? By myself? You two sure are useful.
He dragged himself up from the grass, biting his lip the whole time. Despite, well, his whole personality, I do feel a little sorry for him. I wish there was something I could do to help.
I'll keep an eye out for more water along the way.
Okay, thanks, Fawn.
I sat down next to the water and looked at my face. In the near still water, my reflection stared straight back at me. Ugh, I look bad. I'm filthy, covered in injuries, and have huge bags under my eyes already. A lot's happened in the last few days, but it's no excuse to look this bad.
Are you okay? Aren't you thirsty?
No, I'm definitely thirsty. A lot's happened lately. I guess I was just trying to process some of it.
No point dwelling on it. Just accept it and move on. You're not the only one that's lost something.
I glanced over my shoulder. Both of them were behind me, watching. Leo's crossed his arms over his chest, a strange look on his face. I guess both of them have lost important things too.
Yeah, I know.
I dipped my hand into the ice-cold water. It felt fresh and cool against my sweaty skin. I washed my face and had a drink. Just doing that made me feel a lot better. I should probably check my wounds while I'm at it.
Let me help.
Fawn sat down in front of me, cross-legged, and unwound the cloth that was wrapped around my arm and inspected the wound.
It already looks a lot better. I'll just clean it up a little, then wrap it again.
He raised my chin with his fingertips and took a quick look at my throat. Looks like it was only a scratch after all.
Leos, I can check yours too, if you'd like.
Without complaint, he sat down opposite me. With a straight look on his face, he let Leos check and clean his wounds again. The whole time, he stared at me silently. Oh, that's a bit creepy.
So, what happened to your arm? That's not an injury. So, what happened to your arm? That's not an injury from today.
I looked over at Fawn the exact same moment he looked at me. What should I say? Why would he care? He shook his head at me. Maybe he thought it was best not to tell him about what happened.
I got scratched by a tree when I was walking around at night.
He didn't look convinced. Oh well, I don't have to convince him.
I know you said you didn't know anything about my markings, but have a look again. You might remember something.
I rolled up my other sleeve and showed him the black engravings running up my arm.
When you told me to go to the archives, I found a book with the same markings in it, but I have no clue what it says.
For once, Leo's face was serious as he listened to me closely.
The only thing that stood out to me was the name Caspian. I think he could have been the last of the royal family. Maybe he'd be able to read these markings.
Caspian? The last king wasn't Caspian. He never became the king.
What?
Caspian never ascended to the throne.
Still, you know about him? I've never heard a thing about him.
Well, how old are you?
I just came of age. 18.
Well, that'd be why. He wasn't around much then, if at all. He disappeared when you were just a baby. I was, well, only a kid at the time too, so I don't know too much about him. All I know is that him and his entire family were all met with untimely deaths.
They died? Did he die too?
Who knows? They didn't find his body.
What? Why did you say it like that?
But no one's seen him since either.
My heart dropped. Caspian. He's my only hope.
You don't know that though. I survived out here. Maybe he's hiding somewhere.
No way. No one could survive out here for that long.
He looked Fawn up and down.
No one normal, anyway. But anyway, no one knows. And a little stranger, no one talks about it. I mean, you didn't even know he existed, right? Not that I care. It doesn't make any difference to me. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Anymore? Still, that's a good point. I knew that at one point we had a monarchy. a king and a royal family. But I've never heard the details. I didn't even know when it was dismantled. Weird.
So... You're shirted.
Are you talking to me?
Who else would I be talking to? Yes, you.
My shirt. I found it.
I lost one. Very similar to that. Not long ago.
I found it on the riverbank near where my house used to be.
How did you lose yours, Leos?
I was washing it in the river.
Seriously?
Oh. It's starting to get pretty dark.
Today felt like a long day.
We've been talking for so long. I didn't even notice it getting darker and darker.
We should probably get some rest.
The further we go, the colder it's going to get. It'd probably be best if we stayed near each other tonight.
He blushed again. It's kind of cute.
You two can huddle together all you want. I'll be fine by myself.
Bye. After brushing his clothes off, he quickly left to sleep somewhere out of sight. I'm really not surprised that he didn't agree, but that was still a little rude.
I'll find somewhere comfortable.
Fawn went in the opposite direction. I should go check on Leo's. I'll sleep near Fawn tonight. I'm going with the Leo's options, so I should go check on Leo's. I'm still a little worried about Leo's going off by himself with his injuries. If anything happened to him, he wouldn't find out until tomorrow morning. Plus, I almost don't want to admit it, but I'm scared. He still has those weapons on him, so I want to keep an eye on him. What are you going to do against him? Or he could sneak off in the middle of the night and tell everyone where we are. Fawn should be okay, right? After glancing back towards Fawn, I follow in the direction that Leos had gone only a moment before. It took a minute to find my way over to him. He was perched on the edge of the lake upon a large rock. I tried to sneak up on him, but his eyes quickly found mine before I got too close.
And here I was, thinking I could get an evening of peace and quiet.
Oh. Sorry, I can go back if you want.
Sit down. You wouldn't want to wake up your little friend, would you?
I sat down on the other side of the rock, leaving some distance between us.
Of course not.
And then, silence. Awkward. Gods, this is awkward. Please just fall asleep quickly. I didn't think it this far through. What am I meant to say?
So, why did you come over here by yourself?
He watched me for a moment before turning his attention back to the water.
What? You want me to be all cuddly with you and your forest pal? I'm good, thanks. Does it really even matter?
I guess not. But we're all stuck out here in the same situation. Nowhere to go, no one else to rely on. We might as well try and get along. I guess not. But we're all stuck out here in the same situation. Nowhere to go, no one else to rely on. We might as well try and get along, right?
Did you hit your head earlier, or are you actually that much of an idiot?
What? Ugh.
He pushed me down hard, My back hit the rock with a thud.
Ouch!
In an instant, he was above me, peering down into my face. The way he looked at me, I felt like I shouldn't move an inch. No, I couldn't. It was like he'd frozen me with just a glance. I was completely cornered.
I'm sorry, but maybe you've forgotten the reason that I'm out here. The reason I'm stuck with the two of you fucking idiots in the first place. I'm sure you thought you'd come keep an eye on me, just in case I did something in the middle of the night, right? Are you too dumb to realize that it just puts you in more danger? Do you really think that you being here makes me less dangerous? The prey serves itself up on a silver platter.
Ugh, that voice could threaten me any day. Oh, Leo's voice actor is amazing. They could not have found a more perfect voice for him. He reached down to the pouch secured to his leg. We both knew what he had in there. The daggers that Fawn and I stupidly hadn't taken from him. This CG. I love the way his hair falls though. Like, long hair is one of my favorite things, and I love when it just falls all over the place. He removed one from his pouch and held it above my face. He raised an eyebrow. He raised a brow at my silence.
Oh, so now you choose to shut up.
You won't do it.
Excuse me? What makes you think you're so special? What makes you think you're so much better than the rest of the people I've killed?
There was a dangerous look in his eye. A coldness, but also a fierceness, passion, longing. But for what?
You won't do it.
Sucks to be Raen in this situation twice over. Got a knife to his throat and then text boxes over his face. Such a beautiful CG though, look at it. Leo's is so beautiful. I didn't break eye contact. I tried with all my might to hide how nervous I was. I thought about this a little bit more, but up close he looked different, softer, more delicate. Everything apart from his eyes.
And why not? It wouldn't be difficult. One smooth cut through your windpipe and you wouldn't even be able to scream.
The way he said smooth just then was so smooth.
Oh, how I'd enjoy listening to you gasp and cough as the blood flows from your throat.
Oh, okay.
Well, the thought gives me great pleasure.
Alright.
The pipsqueak wouldn't even know what happened until he finds you face down in the lake tomorrow.
Be my guest. Go on. Do it.
With a tilt of my head, I smiled up at him.
You would have already done it if you were going to. I'm not scared of you.
Truthfully, he terrifies me. But he doesn't need to know that though.
Whatever.
His body disappeared from above me as he moved away. Whew! Called his bluff! Go, Raen! When I turned my head to check on him, I saw him lying on the rock not far from me, staring up at the sky. Instead of moving, I stayed where I had been pushed down. For a time, the only sound was the gentle trickling of water. The adrenaline was already beginning to wear off. With everything that's happened, I couldn't help but be tired. I let out a big yawn and stretched my arms. Wherever we're headed, I hope we can get there without any more problems.
Go to sleep, Raen.
His voice startled me, suddenly calling my name like that. I thought he was already asleep, but apparently not. He was still staring up at the sky-filled sky. The star-filled sky. Unmoved.
Can I ask you a question?
I can't stop you, even if I wanted to.
Do you hate me?
Hate you? Why?
What am I even asking? My impression of Leo's Honestly, he seems pretty shitty, but surely there's something more to him beyond that.
You'd have to hate someone to kill them, right?
No. You don't have to hate someone to kill them. You can kill without feeling anything for the other person. You can kill people that are important to you, too.
Why would anyone do that?
Who knows? Good night.
Good night.
I closed my heavy eyelids. Unsurprisingly, it didn't take me long to drift off.
Truth. Find it. Judgment. From the gods.
With a jolt, my eyes opened to the glaring morning light. My hands and brow felt sweaty.
Good morning, princess. Finally awake, I see.
His voice boomed loudly in my ear. He was sitting next to me, so close we were basically touching.
Sorry.
What's gotten you so jumpy?
No, it's nothing. We should find Fawn.
He watched me silently for a moment before standing up next to me.
Your little friend might not be happy that you abandoned him last night.
The two of us found our way back to where we left Fawn the night before. He was leaning against a tree, looking out at the lake. When we approached, he wouldn't look at me.
Fawn? Are you okay?
Oh, yeah. Just tired.
God, the sun rose ages ago. We should have been long gone by now.
I looked closely at Leo's. His face was a little ashen, and he had shadows under his eyes.
How are you feeling today?
How do you think I'm feeling?
Not great?
Why did you bother asking? Fine, I'm feeling fine. Tired and a little sore, but it's not the worst injury I've ever had.
He really doesn't look fine. He's much too proud. He won't admit it, even if he needs help.
We should check both of your wounds before we leave. And drink. It might be a while before we find more drinkable water.
It's great to know that not everything the Pipsqueak says is ridiculous after all.
These two are like cat and mouse. Fawn doesn't do anything to defend himself, and Leos just happily chases him.
Anyway, how much further do we have to go?
It's about a 2-day walk from my house, so if we leave now, then we should be close by sunset.
It only took us a few minutes to prepare ourselves for today's trek. I rubbed my hands together and tightened my collar around me. This time of the morning, the wind was really biting. I know it's a good thing that we're not really anywhere close to Ruli Cavella, but it still hurts to be so far from my home and the people I care about. I can't help but feel like we're going in one massive circle with no end in sight and for no purpose. That we'll be running like this forever. Even if we get to where Fawn's leading us, then what? More forest? Are the three of us meant to live out our lives in some treehouse in harmony? I don't see that happening. If I manage to survive, what can I even do? Just like yesterday, we walked until we could barely walk anymore. Rather, we walked until I could barely walk anymore. Fawn seemed used to it, and despite Leos' injuries, he was getting around fine. He was actually looking brighter than before. The sun was already high up in the sky. Even when I put my hand up to block it, rays of sun spilled between the gaps in my fingers and got into my eyes. My lungs felt like they were burning and my legs felt heavy like lead. Am I really this unfit? At home we have a garden that I work in, but it's not nearly as intensive as this. Does a home garden really require all that much activity? Like, there'll be some, but like not trekking through a forest fit.
Guys, I really think I need a quick break.
I could barely get a word out through my panting.
Oh,
Vaughn rushes back towards me.
I'm so sorry. You should have said earlier if you needed a break. Why don't we stop here for a while? I don't think there's too much further to go after this anyway.
Why bother stopping if it isn't much further?
He's obviously struggling, so
Then he just needs to keep up.
I don't think...
Well, that was unexpected. We all stopped dead in our tracks. What was that? Vaughn motioned for us all to get down. Crunching footsteps grew louder, closer, along with the sounds of laughter. Is that a group of people? Out here, walking and chatting? I opened my mouth to ask Vaughn, but he put a finger to his lips. We don't know who they are, so it's better if they don't know we're here. When I looked towards Leo's, I could see his narrowed eyes darting from place to place. He looked confused as I felt. People? This far out? Surely not. The fact that we're here is unheard of, but other people too?
And did you see the size of his coin purse? As if he'll be missing it.
Can't miss anything when you're already kicking around the abyss.
From the bushes, we could hear thunderous laughter coming closer to us by the second. I couldn't stay quiet anymore.
Who are they?
Shush.
They all stopped and listened. One of them asking if they heard that.
Yeah, from over there. Something shuffling about.
Oh crap. Good work, Raen. Crunch, crunch. Whatever that was, we're slowly getting closer. My body felt numb. A dull ache in my ear from the sound of my own heartbeat. What should I do? How do I...
Damn it. Why the hell are you two so fucking stupid?
What?
Before I could say anything else, he'd already bounced to his feet and had a dagger in each hand.
Well. Looks like we got another one wanting a lighter purse. We'll be happy to take it off your hands.
We're lucky today, boss. Ain't usually no one around here.
Try me.
He spat in the direction.
As if you could ever touch me with that blade of yours. I doubt you even know which end to hold.
Wait, he's still injured. I have to help him. My hands were shaking. I wanted to jump up and stand with him, but I could barely breathe. I took a moment to breathe in and out slowly. Finally, the drumming in my ears calmed down a little.
What are you calling me?
Ah, both hard of hearing and a bumbling oaf. What a delightful combination.
I poked my head out of the bushes just in time to see a group of men Leos was facing. They shuffled around awkwardly, glancing at each other in the center. Glancing at the one in the center. That must be their leader. I'm sure they aren't used to him being insulted like this.
Huh? Tough words coming from someone that's outnumbered. My boys are gonna chew you up.
His face was getting redder and redder, and his jaw was clenched shut. I leaped to my feet and rushed to Leos' side.
What are you doing?
Before he could even start complaining, I grabbed one of the knives he had strapped to his side and held it out in front of me.
He's not alone. I'll protect him.
Leos is just like, what are you doing? Silence, apart from the sound of Leo sighing quietly. But not long after... the supposed leader burst out laughing, and His entire crew joined in too.
Looks like we have ourselves a knight in shiny armor. We didn't know you brought your boyfriend.
Even more gold for us then.
Does he look like he has any money? I clenched my hands around the pointed blade. The cool metal almost stung my skin. I've never even held one before, let alone used one.
What are you doing? Get out of here!
No! I'm going to help you.
No!
A flash of metal passed directly in front of my eyes. I only just managed to fall back in time to avoid it. All the air left my lungs when I hit the ground hard. Only a second later, the same knife came down at me from above. I didn't have time to react. I clenched my eyes shut and shielded my face, but the blow never came.
Wait!
When I opened my eyes, I saw my assailant go skidding across the dirty forest floor, with Fawn on top of him. Did Fawn just tackle him?
Get him, boys.
There was no time to think about it. I jumped to my feet and pulled Fawn up from the ground, retreating back to stay closer to Leo's.
Hey, mouse boy!
Fawn plucked the dagger that was thrown at him right out of the air. They ran at us, screaming and waving their weapons around like madmen. I gripped the dagger tighter in my hands. Holding it is one thing. Can I use this to hurt someone? The first two went directly to Leo's, since he was the one that insulted their boss. The second two, that left two others to deal with. Wow, my brain just completely fritzed and I could not read that at all. They stood back, watching on and shouting. They circled around Leo's, smirking and holding up their swords.
What you gonna do, pretty boy?
What you gonna do, pretty boy? It happened in an instant. The first one charged at him and Leo's kicked him in the stomach, sent him flying through the bushes. Without even a second glance, he threw one of the daggers he was holding in the direction that the man had been kicked. By the sound that came from the bushes, it must have hit. He moved gracefully across the forest floor as the second man ran towards him. He dodged the blows so easily. It was like he was going easy on him. He ducked and leaned out of the way of each swing.
Stop moving around so much!
Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna do that. Just let him hit you. The second man's swings were becoming wild and erratic, with no rhythm or thought. I have no knowledge of swordplay, and even I could tell he was doing badly. With a smirk on his face, Leo's just dodged him, time and time again, as if he were playing with him. Every time he missed, his face went a deeper shade of red. All I could do was watch. I wanted to help, but my legs felt so heavy that I couldn't even take a single step forward. Oh, RIP to that guy. He suddenly fell to the ground, clutching at his hand. The grass around him was splattered with flecks of blood, and he let out pained groans. Leo looked down at the man with a grin on his face.
Get up, shithead. Aren't you boys gonna chew me up? I'm waiting.
Oh god.
Fuck you, asshole.
Bad boys. Before he could even finish speaking, Leo swung his leg out and kicked him straight across the face. He fell onto his back and didn't make any effort to get up or argue.
I definitely like you more when you're like this. You're much more agreeable when you can't talk. Poor baby. Out cold. Let's see if your friends can do any better, huh?
He's terrifying. Leo looks like a completely different person. Up until now, he's seemed kind of like a smug asshole, but laughing, covered in blood, there was something else there. Something else behind his cold eyes. From the way he darted around and fought, You wouldn't even know that he was injured. His eyes were wild, concentrated only on one thing: killing. Death. He spun again and again, quickly digging his daggers into the shoulder of a different attacker. It was the same man that Fawn had tackled earlier, back for another go. I couldn't take my eyes off Leos as he was taken over by that bloodlust. He pushed his attacker to the floor, stabbing him over and over again, in the throat and face. Blood covered Leos' hands. But he still didn't stop. Fawn stood beside me, eyes locked in the same horrific scene. I wanted to look away so badly, but I couldn't.
Rain!
Fawn pushed me backwards into the bushes that we'd jumped out of a couple of minutes ago before. I stumbled before steadying myself in a tree trunk, just in time to see the final man swing at Fawn. I was the one talking lots earlier. It was the one talking lots earlier, the boss of the group. Fawn blocked and dodged the attacks, but his movements were much slower than Leo's. The difference between the two was obvious at a glance. He barely had time to dodge, let alone time to attack. I played with the dagger that was still in my hands. Can I actually use this? Could I possibly kill someone? Is it okay to kill someone to save yourself? Someone you don't know? Do I have a choice? No, I can't let him hurt Fawn. With each step, my courage faded more. I don't know how to fight, how to block or defend myself, how to hurt someone like that. There's nothing I can do to help, is there? Before I could do anything, Fawn was thrown to the floor with enough force to make him cry out. He stood victoriously over Fawn's body. If I don't do something now...
Stop! Wait! Don't hurt him!
Ah, I'd almost forgotten about you.
He turned his attention towards me and I instinctively took a step back. I looked down at Fawn. He seemed a little rattled, but mostly unharmed. At least he's safe for now. The man took another step towards me, anger crossing his face before it turned into a smile. He thinks I'm an easy target. He's not wrong.
Leave us alone!
He raised his voice, telling me that we were outnumbered, that his pals would finish up with the other two soon.
Pals, really? Strange that I can't see any around. Rain, get away from him.
Fierce Fawn is back! Fawn pushed himself up on his knees. His face was suddenly serious. He was within an arm's reach now. There was nowhere to run. Leos was busy to one side, Fawn the other, and me, and behind me, only trees. He'd be able to reach me no matter where I went. I took a final step back and came into contact with the tree trunk. At least I managed to draw him away from Fawn. If I could just buy him enough time to get out of here. With my eyes squeezed shut, I clenched the dagger to my chest and prayed for a miracle.
Leos!
Fawn's scream echoed through the entire forest, and everything came to a standstill.
What the?
I waited for the touch of the boss's sweaty fingers, but it never came. Nothing happened. When I opened my eyes, there was nothing in front. There was no one in front of me. Instead, he laid stomach down on the grass a few feet away. Leo stood behind him, glaring behind his knitted brows, looking absolutely livid.
If you lay a single one of your disgusting fucking fingers on either one of them, I'll remove them from your body. I'll snap off every single one of them.
In one hand, he still held a dagger, but in the other was some kind of long leather rope. The other end was wrapped around my attacker's ankle. Did he just use that to drag him off his feet? Oh, Raen doesn't know what a whip is. Suppose he wouldn't, would he? Thank the gods we hadn't stripped Leos of all his weapons after all. Slowly, Fawn approached the man lying on the ground. He knelt down beside him and flipped the man over so that he was facing upwards.
Don't you dare speak to Raen like that.
His back was to me, so I couldn't see his face, but his voice was cold. He leant in even closer to the man.
Ooh, I'm so fucking scared. The Pansy Boy's gonna kill me.
Killing you would be too kind.
With a thud, Fawn punched the man in the face. He wailed and howled, holding his nose and thrashing around. Woo! Go Fawn! Blood poured out from between his fingers, pooling in the grass and laid underneath him.
Fawn?
That was surprising. Even Leos looks astounded. He turned around, an innocent look on his face.
Yes?
Fawn has some kind of split personality. You cannot convince me otherwise.
Fucking asshole! Oh, you wait till I get my hands on. Ah!
Leos flung his remaining knife into the man's calf. His clothes quickly turned a deep red.
Was I speaking to you, filth? I don't remember saying anything to you.
Fawn looked down at his bloody fist, a surprised look on his face.
I didn't.
The man rolled around, desperately trying to grab onto someone. Leos kicked him back over with a thud.
Things aren't looking so good for you now, eh? Hey, where did all those friends of yours go? Oh, wait, that's right. I killed them.
Leos knelt down beside the man and pulled the dagger out of his leg. Blood ran down the edge of the dark metal. He pulled the boss up by his greasy hair. Leo smirked at the way he struggled.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, fuck. Oh.
Good night.
That gave me shivers. He wrapped the leather whip around the man's throat. Whoa. Wait. Is he going to? His face turned red before turning purple as he desperately tried to claw at the whip around his throat.
Wait, Leos!
What?
Killing him is too easy.
You don't have to kill him. Let's just get out of here, okay?
I saw a flicker of emotion cross Leos' face. Hesitation? I'm not sure. It's the first time I've seen an emotion other than a lust for battle on his face throughout this whole ordeal. I know these are bad people. Really, I know that. The other bodies that were spread out over the grass hadn't moved. Were they dead? Injured? I didn't know. Must have missed the fact where he said he killed them. Even if it's to protect me, I don't want Leos killing people. I dropped the weapon I was holding and took a deep breath. The muscles in my arms ached, despite my lack of involvement. Okay, I have no reason to be scared anymore. I put my shaky hand on Leos' shoulder. He turned his eyes towards me, a strange look on his face.
It's fine. You can let him go.
Let's just go. This man isn't worth our time.
I was grumbling.
Fine. He's not worthy of being killed by me anyway.
Leos immediately let go of his hair. Ooh. And the man came crashing to the ground. With the whip removed from around his neck, he gasped for breath and crawled desperately away from us. There was a purple bruise around his neck that wouldn't be going away anytime soon.
You're lucky these two are so forgiving. If I ever see you again, I'll gut you where you stand. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Quick kick to his behind left the boss face down in the mud. This must be the unluckiest day of his life. That laugh.
That wasn't necessary.
Oh, but fun nonetheless.
Lightly, I tugged on Leos' sleeve.
Let's get out of here.
He bent down to pick up his thrown weapons and quickly glided back over to me. Every step was smooth, like he was walking on clouds. The crazed look in his eye was gone, but the smirk replaced it immediately.
What are you so happy about?
He bent down until we were eye level with each other.
The look of terror in someone's eyes when they realize they're outmatched is like nothing else. Oh, they talk big, but when it comes down to it, they're nothing but amateurs.
Vaughn looked over our battlefield, back to his usual self.
Are the rest of them dead?
Who knows? That depends on how good of a shot you think I am.
Death isn't something to laugh at. You shouldn't take it so lightly.
Really? Because only a moment ago you seemed like you'd be up for killing that fat oaf. But I guess at the end of the day, someone like you would never understand what it feels like.
He sounds a bit too into it. It's kind of unnerving. Leo's moved to stand over Fawn, peering into his face.
Or would you?
No,
That's enough! Please, I just want to leave. I can't look at this any longer.
Okay, let's go. I don't think we're too far from the edge of the forest now.
After all that, I felt so worn down. My mouth and throat were dry, and the adrenaline was only just beginning to leave my system. If he says the edge of the forest is close, then sure. The edge of the forest is close. I have no energy to argue. If it means I can sit down for a minute, he can tell me anything. We left the area, following Fawn back the way we came.
So, what were they doing out here?
They seemed like a band of thieves.
And not very good ones.
As for why they were out here, I'm not sure. This is the first time I've been this far.
Wait, this is the first time you've been here and yet you're leading us so confidently? See, he's full of shit. He's been leading us in circles the entire time.
No, I definitely know that this is the right way. My friends told me to go this way.
Friends?
Fantastic. Just when I was thinking that Leos needed another reason to tease Fawn.
Wait,
My friends. The animals that live with me.
Lived with you?
The animals that lived with me. They helped me out.
Oh, they helped you. Oh, of course they did. Did they cook and clean for you as well? Dress you and bathe you?
Cinderella.
What? No, of course not. They mostly just kept me company. I made sure they were safe, and they did the same for me.
Oh.
And sometimes they'd lead me places.
Ugh.
We're a family, and we look out for each other. At least, we did. I wish I could introduce you to them. I just hope they're okay.
Oh.
Crumbly Leos is my favorite.
What?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Nothing?
You're telling me we're following you around because a bunch of animals told you this was the right way. Are you insane? Are you actually so out of your mind you think that sounds reasonable?
Leos is right. Leave Fawn alone. I know the answer I need is Leos is right. But I cannot do it because he's just being an asshole. If I want to talk to animals, I'm going to talk to animals. I would love to talk to animals. I believe you, Fawn.
Leos, be nice.
Did you not hear him? He talks to animals.
I heard what he said. Let's just drop it.
Drop it? Do you want to be wandering in circles for the rest of our lives? This is insane.
Seriously, stop it.
Pipsqueak is probably doing this on purpose, taking us out into the middle of nowhere to eat us or something.
Num num. Tasty Noodle Man! Leos actually sounds kind of scared here. And big tough guy, master assassin, completely out of his depth and element. No idea where he is, what's going on. In a place where he's been taught is very bad and unsurvivable. He's cracking a bit.
Shut up!
Ooh.
Will you just leave him alone? All you do is constantly try to push him down and make him feel bad. He's done nothing to lose my trust. But what about you? You were hired to kill me. But you expect me to trust everything you said over someone who's only trying to help? Just be quiet and keep walking.
Damn, Rain. Yeah, boy. You tell him.
Fawn, you said we were close now?
Yeah, it shouldn't be
Not
much
that
farther
you're
now.
much better. You don't believe him either.
Great. You're both delusional then. I'm so glad neither of you are so worried about this situation.
Of course I'm worried. But what else can we do?
Be careful here.
The greenery around us gradually shifted to gravel and rubble. Ahead of us, the trees were becoming thinner.
This is it.
It?
The edge of the forest.
The earth is flat, you're about to fall off. We snuck closer to the light that beamed in from the other side of the trees. With every step, I could feel my heartbeat becoming heavier. What is this? I held my breath and took the final step out of the tree line.
There. That's the coastal city of Stagwitch.
I dropped to my knees, the rocks crunching under my weight. Past the tree line, the sun was setting a brilliant shade of yellow over the sprawling contents below. Large rocky structures, water that goes on forever. A city. A city?
Fawn, you weren't lying? You aren't crazy after all?
Nice.
Did you really think I was? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't lie to you. The town wrapped around the coastal line, and lanterns around it were slowly flickering to life as the sun descended further and further into the water.
Everything I know, everything we've been taught was a lie?
The view made me dizzy. I had to hold the ground in place just to feel secure.
This can't be true. What the speaker says isn't a lie. He has no reason to lie to us.
That's right. The speaker. He wouldn't lie about something like this.
Maybe he just doesn't know?
A slight wind blew my hair around, so I tucked some locks behind my ear. It was cold. Cooler than at home.
Well, hiding the outside world seems like a difficult thing to do. It could be an accident, but...
Then, everything you said about not coming from Aurelia Cavella, about the towns surrounding here, they were true as well?
Of course. I've never lied to you. I've never even seen Aurelia Cavella. I barely knew it existed.
I crawled closer to the edge of the cliff. Fawn and Leo sat down beside me.
There's so much water. I never seen so much. Does it go out forever?
It's the ocean. It goes until it hits another block of land. There are other cities across it as well.
The water glistened in the fading light. It was beautiful. Beautiful. But something about it made me feel sad. The more I looked on the fantastical landscape that went as far as the eye could see, the more lost I felt. My whole life, I would never have known.
And those? What are those giant rocks?
The mountains?
Did someone build them? They're huge.
No, they're natural. Like the ocean and the forests and everything around us.
I see.
Leo just looks incredibly disgruntled right now. My arm throbbed numbly. I could feel the markings buzz like they were alive. We sat for a while, just taking it all in.
Maybe. Does fate not exist after all? My life should be quiet, uneventful. Here I am. My judgment wasn't anything like this.
The speaker is always right. Everything he says comes true.
It's because you make it come true. He looked upon the land below us, a worried expression on his face. He wasn't even convincing himself.
Maybe that's because you won't do what he tells you to. I believe in destiny, but I also believe that fate is what you make of it. You can become anything. I don't know him, but just because he tells you one thing doesn't mean you can't live your life how you want to.
Fate isn't absolute?
That's what I think. Your hard work and effort are the things that determine whether your fate comes true or not.
I've never thought about it like that.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. Is this actually real?
Leo's is having a
Looks
panic
like it.
attack.
And no one else from home has ever thought to look out here?
I guess not.
There's not much I can say. What do you say? What do you say when everything you've ever been told was wrong? I looked at Fawn. He said he'd guide us to the edge of the forest, and Leos and I could go search for help, but
Fawn?
If it's okay with you, I'd like to come with you.
Really?
Going back now wouldn't be safe. Plus, it'd be a little lonely.
his cheeks and the tips of his ears turned red again.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I smiled at him. I can't imagine going any further without his help.
I might not be very useful, but thank you.
You're not as useless as I thought after all.
Thanks? Aww. Leos reached over and ruffled Fawn's hair. Cute.
Thank you, I think.
I looked over the horizon, then back at the two that sat next to me.
You guys... Thanks. I'd probably be dead by now if it weren't for the two of you.
Damn right you would be. I think I'll have to teach you how to hold a weapon at the very least.
Then again, I could have also been dead because of one of them. Oh well. Maybe my emotions are taking over my common sense right now.
Should we start climbing down then? It'll be dark soon.
Good idea.
We scrambled to our feet and started to descend down the rocky slope. I kept an eye on Leos though. Despite how he acts, he is actually still injured.
Do you need a hand?
From someone like you, no thanks.
What happened to the nice Leos from a few minutes ago?
I don't know him, sorry.
Don't know him, sorry. The sun slowly set over the wide ocean as we made our way down the slope and towards the town in front of us. This is very, very long. We're still not even at the extended beta, and the extended beta wasn't the whole thing for the extended demo. So this is the end of this one, and I'll see you in the next one. I can't even remember what part I'm up to.